There's a new ad that was put out yesterday. Actually, President Trump posted it. And I just wanted to play a little bit of this because it is extremely effective. And then we're going to have Congresswoman Karen Bass from here in California. She's a Democrat, and we're going to talk to her about this issue and how the Democrats respond to something like this.
Break up soon, and I'll kill more. Is if I too. I wish kill more of those. Kill more cops soon.
Democrats let him stay. Actual footage of someone who was charged with murder, and then, you know, look, the ad basically lays this all on the Democrats.
So let's talk to a Democrat, prominent Congresswoman Karen Bass. She joins us right now. Congresswoman, welcome to TMZ Live.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
So how do you respond to something like that as a Democrat and a member of the Democratic Party?
Well, first of all, talk about hurtful. I think that's extremely hurtful ad. And I think that it's the sign of desperation. And I think the ad has two purposes. One, it's, of course, to gin up and create fear in the white population and for people to go out, you know, and vote. But I think it's also to send a message to the Latino population and other immigrants to not vote, to be fearful of the voting process. And you know who the people are. They're desperately poor, a lot of them women and children, as though there's some major, major threat.
Well, but how do you respond to that? I mean,
right, because I just think that the ad can be, and you said it yourself, all the things you said about the ad may be true, but they could also be that it's very effective. And I'm just wondering why the Democratic Party doesn't respond to that, if there is a response, respond directly to that allegation that this is the fault of the Democratic Party.
Well, I think Democrats have been responding by saying that Democrats are not for open borders, and Democrats are reaching out to the Latino population. And what is really critical right now, because we're 5 days away from the election, so it's all about the ground game. And so you really have to do the personal touch in these kind of situations. It's one thing to put out a TV ad, it's another thing to tweet, but you really have to knock on doors, get on the phone, and talk to people by the thousands. And people are doing that everywhere.
You know, in the last campaign, maybe the phrase that resonated the most was when Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high.
Yes.
But a lot of people are now criticizing that within the Democratic Party, saying by going high, you're not as effective when they go low. How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't agree with that. I mean, I think that it is not in our interest at all to be as depraved as they are. So I support where Michelle Obama was coming from. If they go low, we go high. That doesn't mean that you're soft. That doesn't mean that you don't punch. That just means that you don't have to be despicable and racist.
But if it turns out to be ineffective, if the Republicans end up winning more seats and hold on to the House, is there a do the Democrats at that point say, okay, maybe we do need to change?
Oh, I think that there's things that we would look at, absolutely. And one of the main things that I would look at would be, when did we start our ground game? What kind of touches did we do with people? One of my criticisms of the Democratic Party is that sometimes we rely too much on television ads. And I think that it's all about social media. It's all about the personal touch. So if we don't win next week, which, by the way, I do believe we will, if we don't win next week, I do think we need to evaluate. But under no circumstances, to me, do we resort to the same type of tactics that they're doing.
Well, you know, it's funny you say that, because just as you said it, Congresswoman, I was thinking to myself, suppose the Democrats could do an ad where you show Donald Trump saying, you know, people who body slam my kind of guy, and then you show the violence, you know, from,
right,
you know, the unspeakable violence from Pittsburgh, and you try and connect the two. That could be an effective ad for you.
Yeah, I do think it can, but I think the danger there, especially, you know, when families are still putting their loved ones to rest, you don't do that now. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, you do the personal one-on-one touch. Again, I would never resort to being so low that I would exploit something like that. But I do think it's important to talk about. We had 3 acts of domestic terrorism. The president wouldn't even call it terrorism. The number one job of the president is to defend the American people. He will not defend us.
Okay. Congresswoman.
You have a strong voice for sure. They should put you on all these ads.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much for the
being
time. We
with us.
really appreciate it.
Okay.
Thanks again.